everyone. This is the Orrery part something 7, 8, 9, 2. I don't know. But I just keep going and tough day at work. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. So I'm Paint with Penny, and this is my co-host, Horlicks.
Hi, how are you?
So how you been?
Yeah, I've been good, and yeah, everyone's probably only just seen me because I was just doing the live DeLorean build. I thought I'd get that done before this show. So, DeLorean is now officially complete.
Oh wow, fantastic! Right, so as this is a bit of a smaller show than the Route Master, we'll just go through the comments right quick. So Mark Knight as well. Hello at Paint with Penny and Horlicks. Good evening to you both. Adrian Langley, good evening, Paint with Penny and Horlicks. Why can't you four at least say hello? Don't quite get that one, but anyway. Good evening, Adrian. Hope you're well. Chris Davies says hi. Then he says hi, Penny. Gordy Broker says hello, everyone. Roger Kendall says good evening to you both. Mark Knight says, Gordy Broker, hi, bud. Hope you are well. I too hope you're well. And Horlicks has gone on mute.
Hi. Sorry, my printer was raising its bed.
You were doing the old saving our eardrums, were you?
Yeah.
Right, so I got a bit of a confession to make, and I haven't said this to Horlicks yet. I am absolutely shattered. So I'm looking for a show that's a little bit closer to 2 hours than 3 hours today. I've got a chance to have a bit of a lie-in tomorrow, but I want to take as much as I can. I'm absolutely dead to the world. And it's been really, really hard work. I've been doing the Cardiffs today, and we've been shuttling people backwards and forwards for the Cardiff-England rugby match. And it's been a great day for sport as far as I'm concerned, because Wickham beat the franchise and Newport beat Plymouth. So if you're a Plymouth fan or an MK Dons fan, so sorry, that's my little thing there. So Dave Newman's come in. He says hi, everyone.
Hello, Dave.
And Gordy Broker and Adrian Langley again. So the stress news is that we, between us, we are having trouble a bit of printing, but I think between us we can get it sorted out.
They've had, they've had all that. I was moaning on my stream earlier about it.
Yeah,
but I have since changed the nozzle, and I've got something printing now. So hopefully it will be all right.
Yeah, right. So towards the end of the show, what we're doing is we're planning on this being, well, what we've done is we're planning this as a show tonight and next week. On the 31st of August, I won't be able to stream because I'm doing late. 7th of September should be the last show, but we booked another one in for the 14th of September as a just in case. And then on the 21st of September, we hope to start the new build in the form of a Q&A. We've just put Q&A because then that will, you know how our shows evolve. So, and then hopefully we go live with a new bit on the 5th of October, which will be a week after my next no stream because I'm off. However, I may be able to stream on the 28th of September because I'm actually on holiday. But what we're doing is we're putting it down as a no stream, because then if we go over by 2 shows on the Orrery, that gives us an extra date we can stream. So we hope that the next build will go on schedule. And at the end of this show, obviously last week we told you the parts that you'll need to buy if you want to build along. So what we'll do is we will remind you of those parts again, and we will give you a list of new parts to buy for stage 2. And then next week we'll remind you of stage 1 and 2, and we'll give you the list of parts for 3, and then so on and so forth until, you know, once we start the new stream, it kind of, we'll be talking purely about that, but we just need to bring that in for this one. So today we are doing tube bending. Now I've had a bit of a, people keep hearing sirens. Now it might well be outside my house and the mic is picking it up. And I've got to be honest with you, I don't hear it. So it might just be, right now there's trains on past, but I think I've been hearing them so long, I just switched off to them. So I can hear rustling now, though. Right.
It might be my printer, if you can still hear it.
I have printed off the large tube bender, and I've printed off the small tube bender. I've really not had time to sit down and design those other ones. Horlicks hasn't had time to print off this one, so we have a bit of slight difference of opinion in that Horlicks is saying to bend the 0.3 mil tubes, which I'm in agreement with, but I'm wondering if there's any time left over, whether to do, I'll start on some of the 0.2s and then Horlicks can catch up later on. I did buy some other rods and I've got a damaged one. As you can see, it's a bit on the hurt. However, it kind of, I think we'll get away with that for one of the shafts. So basically what we're doing, do you have a copy of the PDF and the diagrams? It looks like this, Horlicks. I can do this, but obviously if we can get it on screen as a screenshot, then that'll be a lot easier. Hello, okay. Caldecott bus spotters, how are you? I was going through Caldecott the other day and I was practicing over and over and over how to say it in Welsh. I would like to speak Welsh and I can't remember what it is. It's something I can't remember, but Caldecott in Welsh is a rather lovely sounding name. I think actually in Welsh it sounds better than Caldecott, but that's my opinion. So, do you have it, Mr. Horlicks?
Yeah, leave it with me, sir.
Actually, saying that, I've got it, and I know exactly where it is. So, I could actually bring it up myself if I wanted.
I've got it now. What do you want? Just a template for the bending?
I just want to be able to show people what we're doing.
Right, okay, I've got it. Hang on. Just doing a bit of jiggery-pokery with the screen.
Caldecott, you're on Ian's bus, are you? I haven't seen Ian today. I haven't seen many people today, actually, how busy I've been. Today is one of those days where I have seriously earned my money and I've just had stupid people. I'll tell you a funny story, actually. Someone got on, I don't know the ins and outs of the Cardiff bus. I just know when to go left, when to go right, etc. So when people say, do you go past so-and-so street? I'm like, I don't know. And this woman said to me, she goes, oh, I need to go past a row of shops and they've just popped up recently and they sell the kind of things that I want to buy. And I'm thinking, what a great description. I know exactly where you're going. Not. So, right. So what we are definitely going to try and do today, can you just blow up any of those rods? It really doesn't matter. Shall we Jupiter say? So we can get as much of Jupiter in as we can. You can't move that, can you? Right. Okay, let's go with the Earth. Let's go with Earth. So where it says Earth in the middle, you can see it's got on the side, it says 0.03. So that means that's the width of the tube. So anything with 0.3, that is a 3 mil. Then you've got, in the case of Earth, 82.65. That is the distance from the end of the tube to the middle of the tube after the bend. And then 73.5 is the same measurement, but on the other side. And then on the corner, you've got R12, which means a radius of 12. So basically what we want to do is we want to bend a 3 mil tube with a radius of 12 to 90 degrees. Coming off one end is going to be 73.5 mils, and coming off the other side is 82.65. So as we have, so you've already done the Earth, haven't you?
I did Saturn.
Oh, you did Saturn.
I feel like one of those air hostesses.
So this isn't Saturn. This isn't Earth, but that is. Do you want to just sort of try and hold yours up and show everyone you on full screen? So this is what you will end up with, but with different measurements.
Right.
There we go. Now, for the benefit of those that weren't watching last week, we made a small jig, which is this jig here. It might show up better on Horlicks' screen because I know he used black. But basically what we've got is in the middle is a 0.3 mil with a 12 mil radius, and it's just got some ends on it. And this is designed to put the rod in and then put it into a vise and then bend it round. It did, on a scale of 1 to 10, Horlicks, how much effort do you felt you needed to do? 6?
Yeah, probably. It's just about taking it. You've got to be so careful because obviously I'm going to kink it. So yeah, like you saw, I did it really slow and gentle.
When I played with one before, I found it just on the borderline of starting to become hard work. It's more careful work than hard work. So, shall we both try to bend Earth? And can you remember how we did it last week?
Yes.
Right. So, take it away, Horlicks.
Right. Okay. So what we did. Let me move the vise out of the way for a moment.
Oh, Horlicks.
Pardon?
Very fast standing there.
So I need to work out. I might use this for Earth actually because I don't want to. It's trying to get it right because I don't want to start cutting tubes up unnecessarily, but I don't think I'm going to have enough to.
It looks to me like that is too small for. Oh, really? Is that not a full tube?
No, I cut this one up. So I think I can use this. I can definitely use this for the Earth.
Well, you won't use it for Mars anyway because Mars is 0.2.
And then if I use it for there, will I have enough for the moon gear? But I need 4 of those. So, right, I'm going to use this for Earth. So what I did last time was I fitted the rod into the groove. And then I lined up the cutter with the diagram on the outer edge. And then with a Sharpie, which dearie me, has vanished. Sorry, guys. I feel like Penny today.
Now, listen, right? You take your time, Horlicks, because we have kind of been looking at this project for a long time. So if you're struggling, it's a fair chance that anyone else will.
Yeah, I think. Oh, there it is. I've just lost my Sharpie. That was all. Right. I put it in the project box. So yeah, put the bender on the outer edge of what you
actually need. It's a little bit tricky. You need the inside of the bender to follow. Yeah, that's it. You need to put it on the outside edge. My bad. Sorry.
And then just mark where that needs to sit, so that if it moves when we're trying to put it in the vise, then we know where to reposition. So what I'll do now is get the vise. Now, I used a piece of heat shrink last time just to push up against the side of the rod, so it doesn't. It keeps it nice.
I'm actually finding mine probably won't need anything because it's such a tight fit.
Yeah.
But if you want to just put something in there just to hold it in place, that's really not. Now, use the long side to hold it because that will give it more support. But you also need a little bit of it. You need enough sticking out that you can get your finger on the flat bit. Exactly like Horlicks has got it right there. Sorry, I've kind of jumped in. I said over to you and then I've taken over, so I do apologise.
No, that's all right. So I'm going to squeeze that fairly tight. That's not going to move. And then you probably won't be able to see, but I have got the black mark just on the edge there. So I'm happy with that. So then what we need to do, last time I put my finger here right near the bend, and then with the other hand, just gently bring that round.
And the slower the better.
Just see how that's going. That looks good to me. And I'll keep feeling to make sure it's not kink. There's no kinks or a kink developing.
Mark Knight says you need to eat your Weetabix.
Right. So
Well,
that's
easier than last time.
Yeah. And it's obviously, because it's a flat edge, I can push that to the flat edge, but it just wants to spring back because really you need to go slightly more.
Yeah.
I can do that by hand.
I think if I remember rightly, I actually needed to put I needed to make that rather than making it a 90-degree angle. But yeah, maybe I need to make it sort of 100 degrees.
So what I'm doing now is, obviously you can see that's not quite right. I'm just putting my finger in there, and I'm just going to do that slowly, manually, because the bend is already there. So I think once you've gone that far, you'll be fine. You shouldn't kink it unless you do it too far.
Just be careful not to go too far. I think it's better to be a degree or two short than a degree or two over. I've got a feeling it won't matter in the long run, because what these supports are going to do is going to bring the platter out and then up. So that, you know what? I thought it was better than that. That's interesting, isn't it? Chris Davies, yeah, regards to the message, yes, you can tomorrow. I'll send you a message when I'm home. So yeah, it's just being careful and finishing it gently by hand.
Okay, I think.
So I counted about 8 or 9 revisions in that. Little small adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, and it has actually started to flatten ever so slightly, but for the purpose of this, it's not going to make much difference. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Feel that flattening might be because you're not used to bending tubes.
Possibly, or maybe I was rushing it slightly. But no, I'm happy with the result on that, so that's good. So what I've done now is I've marked on there where the end is, and then what I can do is while Penny's bending a tube, I can then put this in my vise, and then I can mute my microphone and saw that off, so you don't all get a headache.
No, that's a bummer because no, I've just found it. Right.
Unless you want to see me soaring.
I don't know if we all want to hear it, but right. So that's right. I thought I was going to have a problem in that where I was sorting the rum out last week. I thought I'd lost it. You know, you tidy things up and you can't find things.
Yeah.
If you just give me a minute,
yeah,
we'll talk about the weather or something while I just set my vice up.
Okay.
We will see if I can do it as well as Horlicks.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be fine.
I've got a high standards to live up to with yours, haven't I?
But no, I mean, as Penny will tell you, I was really worried about this bending these tubes, but actually, I feel a lot better now that it's actually going
You've been
all right.
worried about a lot of things, Horlicks, and I've said this before. You don't realise how good you actually are, and I think everyone on watching this will agree. Right, so I'm going to do an experiment. I actually bought some extra 3mm tube. Well, I obtained a 3mm tube, so theoretically, if I muck one up, probably wouldn't matter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take over the stream. I'm going to see what happens if we don't use the heat shrink. So there is my vice. I'm sorry I can't get it in any closer. Oh, I probably can. That's probably enough. So I've just got to set the little plastic bits off. I was pushing some things into other things the other day, so I took the little plastic bits off. So I can't see now because of the light. So which one are we doing? The Earth.
The Earth, yeah.
Right.
And don't forget, you need to catch up on Saturn as well, that I did last week.
Not a problem. So I'm placing. Right. First of all, sorry you can't see it. It's just I happen to have grey, which is an awful colour for streaming. So I'm lining the block up on the piece, on the actual picture. I'm going to place the rod in, and I'm then going to draw a line on just in case we lose it. I think Horlicks has definitely gone on. Yeah, Horlicks is on mute. So what I'm then going to do is, yeah, see how it's actually slipped. So I'm glad I put that little bit in. So we'll open up the vise and we will clamp that in. I need to give myself a little bit of room to work there. So that looks good to me. Clamp that in. And yeah, that's solid. That's actually not going anywhere, that rod. Sorry, I forgot you weren't seeing the rod. That rod is most definitely in there. So I suspect this is going to be the harder one of the two because this is a bigger rod. So let's see how well I can do it. So I've got my concentrator coat on now. If you could see me, you'd see my tongue sticking out. So yeah, I don't know if you can see my hands. The hand with the 219 on it is essentially the pulling, and then my right thumb is my guiding. Right. So Horlicks has then finished this bit off by hand. So we'll see what happens. We'll check it. Oh, that's stuck in there. So, oh, I'm very happy with that length. So, I think I've actually made that slightly too long. I don't think it's going to matter. And if I was overly concerned about it, you see, I can just trim the end off. But you see, I've made it just slightly too long. So I'm going to go with that. And we just need to finish that there. A few more degrees to go. And when you hold this up against the template, you can actually see exactly where it needs bending. Did you find that, Horlicks?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Right,
And you know what's funny? Because mine was very ever so slightly too long as well, and I realised the mistake I made. When you put it into the bending block, you need to make sure that the black marking that you've marked off actually sits inside the block.
Right.
At the very end. I think that's why I've got a bit of overhang, but it's not going to make any difference.
But I mean, look, if I need to cut it, I mean, look, if I measure this exactly, then it's going to be right. So what I've coloured in purple is the bit that's too much. So this much, if I want to be precise, I've got to cut this much off, which you see is hardly anything. So I'm really not bothered about that. So Horlicks is or has been hacking away, whereas I'm going with the Posh K&S cutter. I can't remember exactly where I got this from, but you can always Google it. It's not a massively expensive part, but the shipping did chuck the price up a bit. Funnily enough, this came through absolutely fine. I actually had a problem the other day with an extrude. I'm really gutted about it, actually. Still fuming now. I purchased a new extruder for my 3D printer to handle flexible filaments, and it was $35, and the shipping was $55, which is like nearly twice as much as the product. Not happy, but you know, if that's the way it is and you want the product, you know, you've got to pay the price. This theoretically should be easier to cut, because now I've just made myself a handle. James Tubrady. Right, okay, so are you hearing? So I'm just checking the comments. I've missed a lot of comments. I will also say, I don't want to go into great detail about it, but I felt it necessary to do a little bit of moderating today. So guys, do bear in mind that this chat is designed for you to have a friendly time while we're building. And Joshua, how are you? So how you get? Let's do a split screen again rather than focusing on me. So this is so much easier on a bent tube, because you see how much easier it is for me to bend this. I actually got a blister on my finger when I did this before. And what I find with this cutter, I might actually cut that slightly too small. Once you've got a couple of a line in there, it stays in really nice. Campbell, how are you? Right, Chris? Horlicks, sorry, I'm hearing you, but it sounds like an echo rather than actual speech.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I think, and if I remember last time off stream, you were trying to cut something, and I think in the end you gave up and stuck the end in your drill.
Was that we're cutting it?
Yeah, then you put the drill on one end and used the drill to spin it in the tool, and it happened really quick, didn't it?
Yes, and it was yeah. So there is my tube, which I think that's.
Hello, Chris again.
No, that was that way round. Right, so that's my earth tube done, and I'm rather happy with those results.
Yeah, really good.
I mean, they're not exact. If I brought the camera in really close, you can see there's a little bit off, but I really am not worrying about that. For my first attempt, I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. So what I've done, you might want to do something different. I've actually highlighted the ones I've done.
Yeah.
So that I don't get confused later on.
Well, I think you probably secretly know what I'm going to do. There's only one of two things I'm going to do.
Yeah, you're either going to highlight it or you're going to get your label printer out and write printed on it.
You mean like this?
Yeah.
Well, you're close. So, yeah, I'm just worried. It's kind of highlighted with the new project. When you're printing 2 or 3 bits off, it's not a problem. But then you build the parts up slowly, and then all of a sudden you've got like 20 bits, and you're in a complete muddle on what you're doing. So, and I'm going to blatantly steal the idea of highlighting the ones that we finished.
Yeah, Chris has nailed it on the head. The Mercury pole looks fun. I know. I'm really nervous about that.
Do you know what? I've kind of been looking at it, and I don't know if I can do this, because when you bend round a 90-degree angle, it's not coming out at 90 degrees. So this bit here, for example, that needs to be 90 degrees before we can do this one. So I really don't know. And they're taking these measurements. These are going to have to be 1 minute. I don't know. I might still work on it, but it's. I think it might just be easier just to get that bit bent, and you can see that it can't go all the way up. And then once that bit's done, then we need to work on that section. And yeah, okay, yeah. Let's leave that till last, because that is going to be that is undoubtedly going to be the hardest one.
Yeah.
Right. So with the piece that I've got left, I would propose that we do one of the moon gear shafts, possibly 2.
Yeah, I've got my cut-off bit that I just did.
Yeah.
That will be enough for one of the moon gear shafts.
I mean, we might be lucky and get 2. Yeah, we might get 2 out of that. So, but I'll bank on getting 1. So, are you tidying your ends up?
Yeah.
Okay. So, shall I start this one and then we'll watch you?
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay, so. Oh, that's interesting. That is actually, by coincidence, that is the same length. So that's going to work. I promise you that's pure coincidence.
Well, it's slightly over, but yeah, that's so we can just put that straight in.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with that then. So what I'll do is I'll lock this in place. So no highlighting necessary. And then lock that into there. And then same again, I've got my thumb here and I'm going to pull with my left hand. It might be harder because it's not as long, but you do want to be pulling as close to the front as you can anyway. So, and I found on the last one, it was getting the first bit of pull done that was probably the hardest. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Oh, if you do...
It's like blowing a balloon up, isn't it? The first half is really hard, but once it gets inflating, it's easier.
When you print this piece off, guys, probably doesn't need to be explained, but I've done many walls. I think I did 5 or 10 walls and about a 40% infill, because you are going to be putting some pressure on it. It is only made of PLA. Would a pair of pliers help? Quite possibly. I think the best tool to hold it will be the vise, because you can see it's held that straight. But we seem to be managing okay finishing it by hand. And I think I'm not criticizing Horlicks. I think where his has gone slightly flat is maybe he's put too much. In fact, look, I've got a kink in mine, ever so slight. And I think that's because I did too much bend in one go. Rather than placing one bit of a bend there, I should perhaps have placed a tiny bit there, a tiny bit there, a tiny bit there, and so on and so forth. Spread them out. So I may actually end up kinking this even more, because once you've got that kink, the pressure is going to force its way, because obviously pressure and forcing that is lazy. It always go down the path of least resistance. So I think I might have got away with that. I've still got a bit more to go. It's funny because you look at that and you think, well, that's perfect. That does look perfect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And as soon as you put it on there and you think, yeah, no, that's far from perfect. That's getting there. That is getting there. So,
wow.
Got a feeling I went too far on that one. Yeah, I think not too far, but no, not enough now. Right, so that is ever so slightly long, but I'm okay with that. So there's my cut-off point. So while I'm cutting that, we will focus on Horlicks.
I'm just bending mine, and now by a complete and utter accident, I thought I was going to have to trim this a bit, but it's the offcut I had was actually near on perfect. It's very slightly long, but the thing is, as with the other planets, I don't think it's going to matter. However, part of me thinks this will matter. So it may be that I have to trim this down. And the reason I think this is going to matter is I've seen the final design, obviously, and all of these moon gear shafts need to be perfect, because if they're not, and it's not level, it's not going to run properly.
Basically, they're all going to stick out, and then the 4 of them between them are all going to support one piece.
Yeah.
So if one is higher, it's a bit like table legs. If you've got a lump in your floor and you place one of your table legs over the lump, you're going to get a wobbly table.
Yeah, basically what we've got, I mean, I'll show you a little sneak preview of what's to come. We've got this moon gear ring, and eventually we've got these black bits that we printed off, and they're going to fit in these holes. all the way around. Once this is complete, there's 4 sections to this, and then all of these will go into that hole. And once that's together, it's going to sort of look like that. And this needs to be completely level, so that I can't even remember what goes around the top. Is it the Earth?
It's I think.
Moon.
Yeah. Well, what's actually happened with mine? Right, one is slightly short, possibly. I got a feeling the exact size won't matter. It's just the fact that they are all identical. That's what's going to matter.
Yeah.
So what you'll need to do is you'll need to place all 4 together and trim the longest ones down to the shortest ones. But yeah, it might. Right, and I can confirm that I think my leftover waste piece is this much too long. How cool is that? I've held this here. I've run it round in a circle like that, and I think that's how much I've got left over. How cool is that?
Oh, brilliant!
So
that's good.
Shall I see how easy it is to bend a short piece?
Yeah, that's what I've just done. It was actually quite hard work, and I had to get a rag because it was cutting into my fingers.
Right. I'll tell you what, get one of these cutters, because what I've done, I'll show you in a sec. Right. When you cut, I've got to show you, this is accidental genius. So when you cut with this cutter, it makes a little burr. And it's ever so slightly raised on the end. Right? So what it means is, because I've designed this so it's exactly the right shape, that burr actually hooks on the end. You see it slides that way, but it stops there. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that is always going to be my start point. So I can now guarantee these next 3 will all be exactly the same length on this shaft. It's just this one that will vary, because I like that. How long that'll last, I don't know, because it might get worn away. It might wear the PLA away, but we'll see. So, Gordy, you missed it all. We've given away about £1,000 worth of stuff, and I'm just really sorry you've missed it all. So we are bending we are basically being sent round the bend. Oh, do you know what? I've just remembered one of my favourite sayings on the bus. You know, when you get, well, you may not know this, but when you get someone on the bus who's trying to con you into a free journey, I usually reply with, hang on, I'm supposed to be taking you for a ride, not the other way round. Mark Knight is asking how the puppy's doing now.
Yeah, puppy's good. She's not here at the moment.
Right. She's not there, or is she actually just out for the moment?
Yeah, she's gone with Carl to his parents for the weekend.
Oh, yes. Well, that'll be really nice, actually, because that'll be extra bonding with Carl, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was really funny as well, actually. I'll tell you a little story. Puppy went round. They got up this morning and they were getting ready, and I was actually on the phone to his mum at the time, and what next minute she absolutely died of embarrassment because she said, "Oh, what's that? The dog's got in her mouth," and she was running around with a pair of her knickers.
Oh, bless.
So she died of embarrassment. So she obviously went into the bedroom and grabbed them.
Yeah. Well, the dog won't chew something that they don't like the smell of. Like if it smells of bad person, they won't go near their things. So that's actually a compliment, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so I've just bent one and it's looking okay.
Yeah, I'm actually having difficulty with this last one because of the length of it. I'm not a strong person, so that's as far as I can go. So I'm going to try it with pliers. I'm kind of being a little bit rough, and I'm doing it on purpose because I know I've got extra rods. So if, for example, if I now wreck this with the pliers, I can go, all right, this is what happens. So, oh, that's a lot easier. You still can't get a 90-degree bend on it, but so it's still going to have to be finished. But I like that burr. That is really handy. So if you can get yourself one of these, that is brilliant because I don't know, I'm trying to get this in view, but it's not really happening. There. You can just see there's a little burr on the top. And that is actually really useful. If you want to get rid of it, you can. But I would keep it while you're building these or bending these rods. So yeah, I am actually getting some marks on there. So what I think would be a better idea is to get something like, I don't know, electrical tape. Is that something you might have, Horlicks? And actually,
Sorry, what was that?
I said I have actually made little marks on the rod from the pliers. So you probably want to just cover that up with something, I don't know, perhaps electrical tape. Is that something you might have, Horlicks?
Oh, I've got loads of it. Yeah, I love it.
So this is more difficult to work with because it's smaller, shorter. Obviously, there's an old trick about if you're trying to take a wheel nut off a car. If you just use the wrench, it's too hard. But if you get a scaffolding pole and put it over the end, and then you pull the end, because you can apply. Obviously this isn't what you put on, but if you applied the pressure there, you can't get so much on. But if you applied the pressure there, I don't know the physics of it, but the amount of pressure it applies there is far greater. It's probably to do with the gears, isn't it? That, this is at one bit of a move, whereas to get the same amount of movement, you've got to move that further. So, I'm probably a bit waffling there, but right. So, yeah, I'm almost done. Shall we switch over to you, see how you're getting on?
Yeah, I've just muted and I've just cut mine to length, so I'm just about to check it on the thing.
Okay, I'm just trying a little experiment. I've just thought of something that might just work.
Yeah, so I've got 2 of them now. So I can mark off another quarter.
I'm close to having to. No, that didn't work as well as I thought. I'm just trying lots of different things, putting the piece into the vise at a different angle. We'll see what works and what doesn't work. Yeah, that's not a good idea. Oh, I thought your brass rod had caught fire there from all the rubbing.
Or the sawing, yeah. Just a quick unrelated update. Please, everyone, cross your fingers because the printer is working well.
Excellent.
So,
on that subject, I'm going to take a 10-second break and I'm going to just check mine.
okay, so while you're doing that, I'm going to start on my third one. We need 4 of these moon gear shafts.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a start on my third.
Okay, I've decided I'm actually not. What I'm going to do is
Saturn?
I'm going to do either. Yeah, have you got enough left over from Saturn?
Yeah, I think I did because after I cut that, I managed to get another one of these, and it was
Right.
exactly the perfect size.
Okay, so we've cut little bits off for. Well, I'm just trying to think. So Earth was a new rod, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And there was
yes.
enough. Right. So if you use the Earth, one rod for the Earth, that gives you 2 pieces left over to do the moon gear shaft. Horlicks is confirmed if you do Saturn with a fresh rod, that'll give you 1 moon gear shaft.
I think
So
actually.
therefore, if you do Jupiter, that will give you 1 more shaft. And then hopefully there'll be enough left over to do your short shaft times 5.
Sorry, I just need to make a correction.
Yeah.
The Saturn was actually a whole rod.
Right.
When I did the Earth, it did leave me some left over.
Yeah.
To do something.
Well, I managed to get Earth and 2 moon gear shafts out of 1 rod.
Right. But yeah, the Saturn was 1 rod on its own because I've looked at each end and I haven't got any saw or burr marks. So that must have been a complete, just a whole rod on its own.
Right. Okay. So should I do Jupiter then? And we'll see what we've got left over from Jupiter.
Yeah, can do.
Okay, so I'll just scribble on here. Earth times 1, MGS times 2. Saturn. Do you remember how many rods we actually needed 3 mil for the whole project?
God.
4?
I think it was 3 or 4.
Right.
I can't remember now.
We might be pushing it then with but yeah, okay, so I'll start on the Jupiter then. And then I've got to find another rod. And here is one. So I'm just going to get my calipers out to check it. And that's actually a 4 mil rod. Well, I've actually got 2 rods left over 3 mil. Yeah, I've got 2 complete rods. So we've either used 2 or we've got 3 in total. That didn't make sense, did it? Yeah, Dave. Dave says that him and Christine are listening more than they're watching, because they're building Route Masters, which is brilliant. I mean, I've seen some pictures of their Route Masters, and they are inundated with seats. And I feel your pain because you're doing them all in one go. I did them over 4 weeks. Right.
Okay, the more I'm doing these, the easier they seem to be getting.
Brilliant. That's what I want to hear.
That was only a couple of... I only had to tinker that a couple of times, and it's...
Okay, so what I've done is I've placed Jupiter, the rod over the end of Jupiter with the brass, the tube bender on it. And I've just adjusted it to length. And then what I've done is I've marked the brass tube just in case it moves. Then I'm placing it in the vise. And I'm going to attempt to bend it. So 3, 2, 1. I did that a little bit faster than I think I should, but that came out okay. So right, I got away with that, but I would suggest people just slow it down. I think there's a little bit in my brain going, I want to get these done, which I need to just knock that out. Having said that, right, so again, I've made it a little bit too long, but to be honest with you, I'm more comfortable with it being slightly too long than too short, because then I can just grind it or cut it. And Horlicks is on mute, isn't he? So I'm sure he's wanting to agree with me there. Now, I have found, I always thought you couldn't bend these out, but in actual fact, you can just a little bit, but not too much. So my Jupiter is done. So I'm just going to mark the other end, and then we'll cut that. So what I'll do is I'll switch to me. So there is my Jupiter that I've done. Don't know if you can see that, but that's just ever so slightly too long. And I've just made a mark there, which indicates this bit there. And I'm just going to pop the tube cutter on there. And just carefully line it up. I like to try and get this tube cutter as close as I can, so I don't have to adjust it so much. But the more you open it, the more you can see the mark. I think that's a little bit too high. Oh, struggling. There we go. So got my little handle, so I can just turn that, no problems. So I apologize. I'm losing track with the comments. Chris Campbell's saying about he's got his Harley. I'm looking forward to that Harley actually. Gordy Broker is saying that I watched the Routemaster show a second time as I'm building my model instead of using the instructions now. Tomorrow I'm doing the metal frame under the top deck. Oh, I think you'll like that. I was the thing it wasn't I didn't enjoy it. I was a little bit uncomfortable because we'd done half of the support, and it's like if I slipped and walked into the shelf, my first worry is, oh my God, what if that slips, and the seats bend. But once we got that support on this week, I'm so much happy. James Tubridy is saying I should drink. I remember saying it should be a drinking game when James Tubridy comes on and says, sorry, I'm late. We should have a drink, which means that we'll all be drunk every single week. Bless him. I'm sure he's a really busy person. So Dave Mill, think we're joining the arm and shoulder together. Is that to do with it? Yeah. Anyone knows what we're doing? Terminator issue 26. I did the show with Adrian last night, and that is really coming along, isn't it? Hey. So just check the sizing. I am super happy with that. So with the piece that I've got left, that's not quite Right, so that's all right then. So with the Jupiter, you're not going to get any of the moon gear shafts, but you can certainly use it for the short shafts. This is the shafts for the gearing. Obviously, we're talking about this after the fact, which is why we've ended up buying more rods. But I could cut that down, that 16 mil off there, and then I could get I could get 3 short shafts and a long shaft, or possibly 2, 3, maybe 4, 4, maybe 5 short shafts. So that won't go to waste. I mean, it'll go to waste on mine, but you know, you could certainly make use of that. So so the Saturn, we said we've got to bend that. So yeah. So what do you think, Horlicks?
Yeah, it's coming along nicely.
It's yeah, the amount of leftover from the Jupiter isn't going to be enough to do a moon gear shaft, but we could, if we'd have known this in the first place, maybe we should have bent the tubes at the beginning, and then with the leftover pieces we could have used for the short shafts and the long shafts. But that's fine. That's why I bought extra. I just wasn't sure. So it's cost me £2, £3 more than it should have done, because I'm going to have to buy an extra tube as a result of that. But if you're a hobbyist, that probably won't make much difference, because you'll probably use a tube for a project in the future anyway. Right, so there is my Jupiter labeled ish, almost. It is now. There we go. So Jupiter is done. So I'll do Saturn next. Actually, I'll put us both on. That'll be fairer, won't
it? Yeah, I'm just spending my 4th.
Right. So that is obviously these we've already done because they're in the gears. So yeah, I've only got. Yeah, I'm going to run out of tubes. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. How are you off for tubes then, Horlicks?
I've got 2 more lengths left.
Right.
But only Jupiter left to do.
Excellent. And you've done the moon gear shafts?
This is the 4th one I'm doing now.
Right,
so
that's interesting. I've got 2 lengths with Saturn left to do, but I've bought extra lengths. So I know I was short of a 3 mil, wasn't I? Because we lost that. It was when we ordered from Banggood, they lost one of the rods, and they were saying they wanted the weight of the package, and I was saying, well, it weighed 0 because there was nothing in it because it fell out. And then they were asking for all sorts, and they wanted me to take photos of things. And in the end, I just went, what's the time? In the end, I just said, look, it's a couple of quid, fuck off. I cannot be bothered. The amount of work they made me do for £2 rod. So I ended up buying one from eBay from a British seller for like £6. And I ended up buying a rod, not a tube. So then I had to buy another one. But you know, you make these mistakes and you learn from them, or you just keep making the mistakes. So, but I've got plenty of 2 mil rods. I seem to have them coming out of my ears. Are you sure that's that? Yeah, I think that will be enough, actually. It doesn't look long enough for Saturn, does it? Oh, he's cutting again, so he's on mute. It's quite funny when you say something to Horlicks and it's deathly silence and you're like, oh, have I upset him? And then you look and he's on mute. So, right. just bear with me. I'm going to have to do some more moderating by the sounds of things. Do you know what, Mark? You've said sirens, and I genuinely I didn't notice any sirens. Right, okay. Chris, I'm going to be honest, Chris Davies, I'm going to assume you're joking there because I can't see anything, but oh, hang on. Yeah, guys, right, okay. I hate being like this, but look, sorry, I'm going to put my serious face on now. Right, so obviously this is a show about 3D printing, and obviously if you're not getting on with somebody in the chat, just ignore them, and just get on with things. Can't expect everyone to love everyone, but obviously it's more favorable if I'm focusing on the build rather than focusing on having to be a moderator. That's all I'm going to say on it. That's all I need to say on it. And I apologize to those who are just watching, trying to enjoy a show. So yeah, so that was my serious face. And Horlicks, yeah, you timed that unmuting just well. Did you mean to?
Yeah, I'm cut.
Lovely. So obviously I'm a little bit behind you. But I am catching up. So, right, so I'm just gonna my camera keeps not getting knocked out. So I've got I've not actually used any heat shrink. But that's for you to assess yourself.
Yeah, the only reason I did was because unfortunately my device hasn't got any rubber bits on. So
right. So maybe it was my rubber bits that's helped.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
So I'm using this bit of heat shrink to use as a bit of rubber.
Yeah. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see how I won't use the word wrong, but I'm trying to do it not quite as well as you. Oh no, my satin rod's not long enough. Oh look, it's that much too short.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Is that a fresh rod?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the rod I said wasn't going to be long enough.
I think this rod came from, because you get different lengths, don't you? You get like a 300 and something, 312.
Well, the instructions state it's only about that much too short.
I mean, I suppose that would probably be all right, Penny. It just means that the planet will be slightly lower, but I don't think it's cause for concern as long as it's
no, I'm not. I mean, if it was like that much too short, then that might be a problem. Can you double check your Saturn if you haven't already?
Yeah, it's here. Oh, sorry, you can't see it.
Is it a really good fit?
Perfect.
Yeah, I remember rightly, I ordered your rods, didn't I?
Yeah.
Well, what I could do that might work. Right. Okay. Right. You carry on a sec, Horlicks.
Well, I'm actually done. I've done my 4 moon gear shafts. They're not all perfect by any means, but it'll have to do.
Yeah. Right. Okay. This is. I love this software.
There you go.
I accidentally left the stream there and I just came back. Right. So this is Saturn. If you think it doesn't look like Saturn, it's because it's half of it. So I'm actually going to have a little play. What I'm thinking is that still needs drilling out. That hole is actually quite deep, isn't it? Right. I think I'm going to go with it. Yeah, I can't get that in there. That's going to need, but they did say you might need to re-drill them anyway. Right. Hey, Chris, that's really good that you've got a stand for the cam and mic now. But this is what I said to you before, that what you need to do is when you first stream, you go with what you've got, and then you listen to your audience and you listen to your own gut, and you go, oh, I need to improve this. And, you know, you just gradually improve things. It's taken me, how long have I been streaming now? I must be pushing 2 years now, Horlicks.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've not done changes every week, and I've not been able to afford to do changes every week. But I think compared to my first streams, it's, yeah, I'm going to say my streaming now is so much better than before. Not as good as some, and maybe give me 2 or 3 more years, it might be as good as some of the streams now. And then we'll just see how far the other streams have gone. For me, you know, how far I've got to catch up with that.
Yeah, I mean, my first stream was absolutely abysmal, I think. But I just froze, I think. I was just like,
yes.
didn't know what I was talking about, didn't have much confidence. And then as I pushed myself to do more and more, and now it's just sort of, I wouldn't say I'm perfect.
What I noticed with, sorry, go on.
No, yeah, you know, no one's perfect, but I feel a little bit more confident to hold conversation or try and fill in.
Yes.
Or sometimes I still struggle, like on my live stream, actually, because I'm so used to co-hosting and knowing what I'm doing and what we're supposed to be doing. When I did my DeLorean, I did struggle to sort of find conversation. But then, to be fair, I haven't done many live streams, so I think I had about 7 or 8 viewers, and there wasn't too much conversation flowing. So to try and to fill in, but
yeah, it's always going to be easier when you've got more people watching. This is, I don't mind saying, this is a much more difficult stream to do, because at the moment we've got 17 watching, whereas on a Wednesday we might have 50. So you've probably got twice as many viewers, so you're going to have twice as many people chatting, so more questions to respond to. Your audience is, the more audience you have, the more they help you. So there's actually very little work to do on a Wednesday because the flow is going, whereas, you know, and plus you've got the little delay. So if I ask you a question, it's going to take 7 seconds before you even hear the question, and then you've then got to type it. So it's going to be about 20-30 seconds before I get a response. So if I sit here and pause until I get a response, you're going to have all these little blank bits of nothingness. So yeah, so I was just right. Yeah, so I'm gonna, how are you getting on, Horlicks?
Right, so I've done the 4 moon gear shafts, I've done the Earth, I've done Saturn, which I did last week. So the only one I have got left is Jupiter.
Right, okay, you've got to do Jupiter, have you?
I've got Yeah, Jupiter to do, and then that's all my 3 done. Obviously, where my printer's been held up doing tyres, I have not had a chance to print off the 2 mil rod bender.
No,
So,
that's fine. So I'm quite happy to do the right, guys. Do you want us to do the 2 mils next week, or do you want us to do it off stream so that they're ready for next week? It's your call. I think. Are you happy with that question, Horlicks?
yeah, it's up to the viewers.
I mean, do you want to watch us do the same thing over again next week? Or are you happy for us to say, here's some we made earlier? Double-sided
say is that if we did that, what would we do? Just carry on with maybe the planets and.
Well, I would like to look at that moon shafty thing.
Yeah.
But we've got the planets as a backup. If it turns out we're not quite well prepared enough and we go, oh, we can't do this week, we can then prepare what we need to do for the following week and then move on to the planets.
Okay.
Having said that, I'm going to have a little play, but I can't remember which one is which. So is there any science boffins, space boffins out there? We've also got to attach the sun. We've also got to solder the wires as well so that it works. But you've already done that, haven't you? Because I know your sun works.
Yeah, all mine's done. I'm all caught up with the actual cogs and the gear system. So yeah, I've just got to bend the rods, and then I'm probably going to have to get the drill out next week because I think I'm going to have to carefully drill out the holes, and then I'm going to glue these rods in because at the moment they're a bit tight to get. I tested one the end of last week's show.
Yeah.
And it was quite tight to get in, so I might have to use a drill just to enlarge the holes very slightly. But then I'm going to use a load of super glue in there to glue them into place.
Right. So I'm just having a little look. I'll tell you what, let's go back to. Oh, I'm listening, Chris. Your very easy method just speeds up naming planets is how I remember the order. Is this going to be one of those posh rhymes like, do you remember the colours of the rainbow? I taught Richard of York gave battle in vain. All the live streaming have been great. Well done for bringing them. That's no problems, Dave. And do you know what? It's funny. We talk about how the stream evolves, but the actual content is evolving as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying this project, but the problem is because we have to. I've already said this to Penny, because we've evolved and we're looking at an even bigger, better project. I sort of half want this done now because I want to get on with a new project, but not in a bad way. I think that once we've started the new project and we start planning the next project, I'll probably be the same. I just want to get the tractor.
Yeah, no, I can't. Yeah, let's get rid of the tractor. Right, bear with me a sec. I'm going to be nasty now. Right, okay. So I've now been a bit mean and nasty now, and this thing in the chat is just getting a little bit too much. You know, I'm having to focus on the chat, and I really don't want to. So I've been a little bit mean to one person, and I will have no gripes about being mean to anybody else. Okay? So I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to lecture you, right? I go out and work all day, and I come home. This is my way of relaxing. And I'm not putting blame on anyone. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put equal blame on everyone involved. Some for starting it, some for finishing it, some for getting involved. So, yeah, this is my relaxing time. please don't spoil it for me. Okay, big bad evil witch lecture over with now. And it destroys my flow. I'm now like, right, let's pick up the stream. Right, what we were doing about. So, right, Matthew Bourne, my grandmother had a unique knack for making tea. Right, Chris Davies, Chris Campbelling, sorry. You were saying something about easy method of remembering how the planets are. Because what's actually happened is I tried to print my planets off in I'll be honest with you, I know very little about space. This is one of the draws for me for this project was maybe I'd learn something. Anything that has any educational value, you know, it has got to be great, hasn't it? So yeah. I found a little chart, a little page on a website, and it listed the colors. So the hardest one is Earth, because Earth is green and blue, and I can't do green and blue. So the Earth is blue. That's one I can remember. I remember that this one is red, so this is Mars. This one is easy, it's Saturn, and I know it's Saturn because of the rings. Oops. But the rest I can't remember. But I've actually got two silver ones. These silver ones, these are the two optional ones. Is it Uranus and something? But I've got no, this is where it all went wrong, you see, the labels fell off. Actually, that leaves us with 44. So if anyone's got the parts list up and can tell me what 44 is, that's that planet. Oh, that was it. That was it, was it? My very elderly mother just says, upstairs now, please. So that has got to be, see if I can figure that one out. Mine is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, because I know Mars is next to Earth. So Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And I did genuinely read that out without reading the second part of your message. Do I get a brownie point? Do you know, I knew someone that loved space, and they must have loved it because they had so much empty space in their head. So, do I get a brownie point from Gordy Broker for working that one out? So, I'm assuming that my elderly mother is working from the sun outwards. Brownie point to Bernie. This right. So let's see if I've got them all and in the right order. So Mercury has got to be one of these two. And I'm going to guess Mercury is the small one. My elderly, so now we've got a Venus. So that could be, Venus is smaller. So that'll make that one Mercury. My very elderly, so that's the Earth. Mother. Jupiter. I've lost planets. I'm missing planets. That's why I can't figure it out. So, I've got a label in this one, 53, 41. So, I'm useless at this, aren't I? So, yeah, so we know what the planets are, or what order to place, and we just got to figure out what the planets are. So, I can see now why the shafts are different widths. The Saturn shaft, this is the size of Saturn. And this is Mars. Now, Mars is a 0.2 shaft, but can you imagine putting a 0.3 in there? So Yeah. So right. So we've got the planet. Shall we? Well, I'll wait for Horlicks to come back. But right. So what do you guys want to do? Do you want us to? Do you want us to actually do the rods next week, or do you want us to do them off screen? Because it's going to be exactly the same as this week, except obviously we'll be using a different size, and I suspect they'll be easier. Ah, I found some more rod. I think that's 0.4. Ignore that. Ignore that. But I've got some more 0.3. So yeah, keep scraps because you can always use them. And Horlicks is doing a bit of cleaning there. So yeah, it's really hard when your co-host goes on mute. I understand why he's on mute, but it's really difficult because now you've got no one. You know, like it's like trying to bounce a water balloon off a wall. It's not happening.
I just had to quickly vacuum the side because
No, it's absolutely fine.
filings everywhere.
We bounce off each other. I don't think we realise how much we bounce off each other, and suddenly, it's like a walking stick, and then. If you haven't got your walking stick and you go and you'll probably by habit put your walk and then you fall over because your walking stick's not there. You are my walking stick, Horlicks.
Thank you very much.
It's all right.
I can be your syrup to your waffle.
To my waffle. Okay. Can you be my my mental health medication?
So I am done with all of. I mean, they're not too bad. I'm done with all my 3 mil now.
Right. I've actually done all of mine, bar the 2 moon gear shafts, which I'm going to do later. We've already done the 5 short shafts and the long shaft. I'm going to be a bit daft, and I'm going to colour in the sun shaft and the unnamed 8 mil shaft. And so next week, or by the end of next week, we need 1 moon shaft, 1 Mercury, 1 Venus, 1 Mars. So I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll do a screen share, and we will pretend print the planets just in case I haven't already.
So just after me cutting all this, I've got 2 small ends left and a whole 3 mil rod left.
Right. So obviously, if we'd have bent these beforehand, we could have then used those scraps for the short shafts, or maybe we couldn't because maybe we've only got that much because of the. Also, cutting them with a hacksaw blade, in my opinion, wasn't the best method. This is the best method, unless you have some kind of industrial pipe cutter that can cut them exactly precisely. But I personally think that, I bought a really crappy hacksaw blade, so I think cutting it with a piece of paper would have been better than that hacksaw from Poundland.
So mine was only £1 on eBay.
Yeah, mine was £1 from Poundland, so mine's really low.
And that is still really sharp.
Right. Okay, so bear with me, guys. Right, now, on my Cura, I've got a bit of a problem because I'm going to have to get rid of that because it's not been saved. Okay, no, that's fine. I've actually been designing something for work. We have vaults where the money goes in, and sometimes the cash gets stuck. And someone has said, "Oh, if you can design something to unstick the machines, you could probably make a killing." So I've designed something to help me make a killing. Penny, right. Sorry, Adrian's just contacted me. He wants me to put a link in the stream. So I will certainly do that for you. I will have some exciting news as well. I am going to be increasing my broadband speed. I have a lovely couple's just moved into the next room, and we're going to be sharing my broadband. But because obviously they'll have devices connected and I'll have devices connected, we're going to ramp the speed up and then share it. Right, so I suspect looking at this link, because you know I review all links, it looks like it's more relevant to Chris Davies. It's an adjustable desk thingy. Adjustable desktop suspension boom scissor arm stand holder with base for Logitech webcam. So that looks very much like my lamp with a different end on the end. So, right, where are we up to? So, we're going to be printing the planets off. Oh, Alexa's just made a funny noise. Right, so you have to bear with me because I've got to find the files. Desktop, I have them. All right. Do you have the magic list, Horlicks, to interpret those file names into something useful?
Yes.
Okay. So, could you call them out one by one for me?
Right. Planets. Oh God, what's happened?
I don't know. I'm panicking now. I'm wondering what's happened to you, Horlicks.
I'm here. I'm just moving my camera again. Not that anyone can see this, but okay. So first up, we've got Mercury, which
Right.
is SS Orrery Y30P01.
Y30 P01. Are they all going to be Y30 P01 02 03?
Yes, so we've got PY30, P01, 2, 3, 4, 5A, 5B.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll save a bit of time and I'll chuck them all in straight away. So I can't see which one is which, but obviously we have the list.
Okay.
So more. Can you see this all right?
And then the other ones are Y30, P06A.
Hang on. Y30.
P06B and A with 01 on the end.
I think I've already opened those ones. Yeah, I have. So okay. This is all of the planets. Now you can see some of them are done whole and some are in halves. The ones that are whole, you'll see there's actually a flat bit. Now, at the time, I printed these off ages ago on my CR10. So I put a brim on them. I personally don't put a brim on anymore because I don't need it. So, and this one, I've got it on 0.1 because the last thing I printed was in 0.1. But let's have a look using my own. I'm not going to go through my settings because anyone who owns a 3D printer, they'll find their own way. If anybody ever wanted my settings, I'll save them and send them to them. But, you know, as you work on your prints, you will, you know, I might have, what have I got at the moment? Three outer walls I've got, I think. Yeah, I use 3 top layers, 3 bottom layers, and a wall thickness of 3. And that just gives you a solid enough. Actually, that's got a very high infill, I think. Yeah, that's 20% infill because that's not working. That is slicing now. So this has actually got quite a high infill, much more than it needs. Like I say, I think this was the actual settings I used for the brass rod spender. So I'm gonna have to sing you a song or something while it slices because it's really, really slow. I've got so much to save up for, but I need to save up for that PC, don't I?
Talking about singing a song, I need to owe someone a massive apology. On Wednesday, it was Christine's birthday, and we didn't sing her.
Oh, do you know, I thought of that yesterday.
I thought of it as soon as we ended the stream, and I felt really bad.
So, Dave, can you confirm that Christine is watching or can be watching either the live or the recorded? Cheryl says, please don't sing. I mean, our audience does make the show, doesn't it? So, you know, is that not an excuse enough?
Well, I mean, if we're going to sing, I need to get my pop filter out. We need to be professional about this.
Yeah, pop filter.
Yeah.
I want to see this.
The bit that goes, no, I can't. I don't know where it is really.
Okay. Is it a bit of net that goes over the microphone?
Yeah. Do you remember I had one when I got this mic? It came with one.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take a chance. Is that better sound?
Yeah.
Hello. Hang on.
That is much better. I think we need to have a look at moving that into a proper USB port instead of your switcher, if possible.
I don't know what. I don't know. What is it that I'm 3D printing? I'm going to have a little check that's still okay, but it's actually a top secret. Oh, it's really, really good.
What are you printing?
Pardon?
Are you printing my failure?
Yes. Yes.
Mine's really good at the moment.
Yeah, mine's really good at the moment, but I've got about 19 hours left.
I'll give you a little bit of an update. Oh, if I can get it up.
Oh, the 3D print I was showing on the screen is going to be the planets. Oh, do you know what? I can't show you mine because mine seems to have disappeared. We've electronics have started to come, so until I sort them properly, they will all get tucked in a box.
Yeah, I was quite excited today because I had a delivery of a big bag of electronics.
Yeah, isn't it great, isn't it?
Servos, wires.
Dave says, I'm here, but save your singing for someone else. Is our singing really that bad?
Oh.
Okay. Right. Are we going to do synchronized squidging?
There's my print at the moment, and it seems to be going really well. It's gone further than it did, but I've got a nice shiny new nozzle on it. So, but I've had to adjust the bed level, of course, because the nozzle is slightly longer.
Right. So I'm just. Are we synchronized squidging?
Oh, I don't know. Are we? We've been instructed not to.
I'll squidge mine if you squidge yours.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Right. Try again. 3, 2, 1.
Right. Oh, sorry. I thought you were. I was reaching for the
squidge Horlicks.
I was reaching for the microphone because I thought you meant singing.
synchronized squidging.
Yeah, but I thought that's what you meant.
Squidging your tire. Yours is great. Mine's okay. I think Horlicks is better, but you've got better filament than me, haven't you? You only get what you pay for.
The outer tread is quite stiff, and the middle goes in quite a bit. And I can squidge this, but it is starting to. I can hear it cracking. So I don't
mine is. Obviously I'm playing and it's cracking. It might fail. It's not falling apart, but I've got a funny bit on the back there, and you can see when it squidges, it all goes wrinkly. This is going to be the inside, so that's the bit you'll see from the outside. Pop this on the wheel, put the wheel on the tractor. You're not going to be doing this anymore, but it's got a little, it actually bounces all right. It's not a bouncy ball, but it's prime. To be honest with you, I think the reason we use flexible filament is so you can get it over the wheel, because there is a ridge inside there that will hold it in place. And then secondly, because it will look and feel like a tire more than PLA will. So I don't think, in my case, I don't really think it's designed to be squidged, but we're just sort of demonstrating. If you made kids' toys out of it and the kid grabs it too hard, it's going to have that flex so it won't break. So,
And this is my failed, but it wasn't really nice, and this is really squidgy.
That is beautiful, isn't it?
The inside, it bounces back to where it should.
Yeah, this is still a learning curve for us as well. It turns out it's the kind of infill that you use that helps it bend. I use an infill that's very, very strong, which is not the good infill to use because you want it to give it some give. Do you have a ruler handy, Horlicks?
So eventually that will just pop into there. I'm being naughty now because you'll see all this.
Yeah, I mean we've now covered most of the tractor building shows in this one.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. I love that. And of course, this is all good practice for me for the R2D2. Because that's really
as well. Because, like, say if you were to drive it, I don't know how this is going to wear. So if you're out and about on gravel surfaces, I don't know whether the tread will wear down like a real car. So at least with that, you could print another set of tires off and swap them.
Exactly.
Or the other option you could do is run some glue in there and glue that on, but to be honest, I don't think it's going to need it.
I wouldn't be happy gluing it because I could never take it off then.
But
I think if you're printing like a tire on a wheel, you actually want your tire to be ever so slightly too small, so you stretch it on. Trevor Rodway, if you ever want to join a live stream, all you would need is a mic. We like you to have a camera so that we can see you. But if all you've got is a mic, then at least you're able to participate in the show. Right. So I'm trying to see if this is working. Add to stream. Right. Okay. So to print those planets off on my settings and the cost of my filament, that's 6 hours and 40 minutes, 20 grams worth of filament, which is 40 pence. So as we said at the beginning, there's the cost of this build is, I think we said it was something like £60. Now we really wanted this to be like a £10 a week project. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out like that. It's kind of been 20-30 quid in the first week, and then maybe a couple of quid or £5 or £10 a second week. But you can see we're now getting down to it's cost 40 pence. So it's £10 a week average, but unfortunately it's a little bit. I mean, the motor and the base and the slip ring probably broke the bank in week 1. But you know, once we got the bits printed out, and of course you don't have to do this over 6 or 10 weeks. Trevor Rodway says, does the webcam have a built-in mic? I'll let Chris answer that because you've mentioned his name and he'll know the answer to that. So yeah, have I covered everything, Horlicks?
I think so.
So no one's actually said if they want us to do the rods next week. So
Yeah, let us know. Do you want us to bend the rods next week, or do you want us to do it pre-show?
Let me just see what I'm doing next week, because I might be able to do a 24-hour stream if necessary. I won't do a 24-hour stream. Right. Sorry, I just something annoying has happened. Right. Sorry, calendar. Right, so next week is my long weekend. So that gives us next week I may be a little bit late. I'm going to Pride Cymru, and I'm doing the paradey thing with my company. I don't know when we can get back. Sorry, I'll tell you a story in a minute. It's a football one though. Right, yeah. Obviously we're going to do this parade. I don't know when we're going to be coming back. So we're not going to know facts about stuff until Monday. So we'll be doing that Saturday morning. I'll set the show for 8 o'clock. I was about to suggest we could perhaps start the show a little bit early and do the rod bending, but I'm going to say we're going to bend the rods off camera. Are you all right with that, Horlicks?
Yeah.
And then we'll have all of the rods ready next week. I'll have them labeled up or maybe bagged or whatever, whatever I'm in the mood for. Then what we can do is we can get straight in. We get your drill ready, Horlicks, with your 3 and your 2 mil drill bits. We'll fit the rods and we'll fit the planets. I'm going to need to solder in the sun so that works. I may need to get a bit creative with my 3D pen because you can't really see it that well, but this is the bottom wires for the sun, and that needs to go down into the motor. Now, what I'm worried about is that it might catch on those 2 cogs. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull those wires across and I'm going to 3D pen them to the side of the base, and then I'm going to run it around the base, and I'll keep that away from the rods as much as I can.
For me, that's exactly what I did, but with hot glue.
You've done it with hot glue, okay.
There you go. And that still spins nice and freely.
Yeah.
And I've actually put a bit of grease up the end of this tube on the wire just to help
it. That to stop it from rubbing and catching. Funnily enough, I've noticed a little bit of rubbing on my wires. So I wonder if it might. Did you say you put a bit of glue in?
Yeah, hot glue, just like that.
What, in the rod?
No.
Right. I might take your grease idea up because I'm wondering if over time. Yeah,
it was just sort of just to grease the side of the cable up.
Yeah, because friction is not going to be your friend on this.
No.
If you leave that running and it goes round and round and it just rubs, you're going to short it out. If you take the insulation off those and those 2 wires touch, you'll short it out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So next week, hopefully mine will look like that in any angle I hold it in. So it won't do that. we'll hopefully have some rods sticking out. And then if all goes as planned next week, and I won't be desperate to get away. Yeah, Gordy says, I think we've seen enough of Rod Live. So yeah, we'll get those done. So we'll hopefully get the planets on the rods and the rods into the planetarium, which will leave us with what I think is going to be the hardest bit, which is, let me find the bits because I can't picture it in my head. We have these parts. So what we're going to end up with is a moon. I know you can't see them, but we're going to end up with a moon rotating around the Earth, with the Earth rotating around the sun. And that, to me, is probably the greatest challenge. I also need to make sure I printed all of the planets off. So I will get that done. So, yeah.
Those 4 bits we did today will go, obviously, round there. And then you've got another bit coming out here and rub against the outer moon ring, and then that in turn will turn a sprocket, which will then turn the other planet around that one. So yeah, it's quite a complex system, and it has to be dead accurate, otherwise it doesn't work. But it is optional to leave that out. But obviously, we'd like to get it working because we can. We'll try.
Right, I've got this little bit. I can't remember what it is. And I've got this bit, which I know what it is. This is going to be the moon shaft bits. It'd probably be easy if I change my camera to a downward view. So settings. So these are the bits that Horlicks was just mentioning. And they go in like that. Obviously, how well they fit is going to be based on your printer, your material. These are actually quite loose, and I thought I would join these up with with a 3D pen, and then I can just rub them down. These bits do these? No, I don't know. These are going to go underneath, and they will hold the rods, which are going to go into this bit here, and then this will sit something like that ish, roughly. So this is actually good. Oh, wrong way around. So something like that. Now I noticed these have got cogs on the end. Is that just shape, or is that going to be functional, Horlicks?
Yeah, because that's going to rub against the other bit that you've got in the little bag.
Ah,
that's why it's got to be dead accurate, otherwise it's not going to work.
Right. So this is either going to be a working model, or I have a funny feeling it's going to be a decorative piece sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just going to find the video for you, then we can have a look.
This is the bit, is it? That
right,
bit.
Here we go. I've got a little video up.
Okay, let me change to Horlicks then, and we'll have a little bit of cinema. Right. Ah, now it all makes sense. So that Earth is right. So the Earth rod has to be dead accurate.
Because you can see it there running against the side of that.
Got it. Right. Okay. Well, that's not going to be a major problem, is it? Because so what we're aiming for then is that when we make the Earth rod, which we have already made, we want to make that too long, and then trim it down carefully until it's the correct length, or get it right first time.
Yeah. That's better.
Right. Okay, so we have planned. I've lost my spreadsheet. Right. So we have planned 2 more shows. Do you think we can do it in 2 more shows?
Yeah, we should be able to. And
Right.
actually, just a thought. Oh, there is. There is a very small bearing in there.
Yes.
I was wondering that. Have we got those bearings? Yes, we have.
Should do, because we bought all the parts beforehand. Would it be the 4x9 before?
Yeah, I think so. There's a nice close up of it. Yeah, so that's how it's going to run.
Yeah. So you see that has got to be on level. So that's going to be the big challenge. Oh, look, his sun's not quite straight either.
Oh, yeah.
That makes me very happy. Not because it's not brilliant, but it's not what I'm saying. It's because we can't get it right, or we can't get it 100%. So, yeah, brilliant. That's given me right. I mean, I'm confident that I can get a planet system. What I'm not going to be 100% confident on is getting it working. But I always say that anyway, don't I?
Yeah.
Don't know if we can do that. And we end up doing it. We always end up doing it. And there's 2 of us here building it physically. And we've got, at the moment, 17 people helping us. So, right. Okay. So I'm really, really happy with that episode. I hope you guys are too. So what we have got, there is a reason I'm trying to get this set up in a certain week, and that's A, because of my days off, and B, we've planned a guest. So we basically, the way I've done it, we've got next week's show, and then we've got another show in 2 weeks after that, which will hopefully be the last show. Then on the 14th of September, I've got a show which I've just given it a title of Just in Case. So if we finish it on the 7th of September, then the show on the 14th of September will be general 3D printing waffle. Talk about whatever you want. Obviously, we'll talk about what anything really. And then the show on the 21st of September will be a Q&A regarding the tractor. So what I'd like you guys to do closer to the time, have a little look at the spreadsheet, have a look at the project. We'll give you all the links. If you're interested in building it, it'd be brilliant. But find some. We've got loads of questions, and we it's things that we want to discover, and we'll try and get everything so people can say, well, if you want to ask what color are you doing yours, if you want to say, well, how's this going to work out, one thing we're investigating is we found a cheaper receiver. We don't really know much about the receivers between us. One question we want to try and discover the answer to is, do we need the receiver that the author has given us, or can we get away with a 6-channel receiver?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, just so Fleetwood has to go. So good night, Fleetwood, and
Take care, Fleetwood. Say hello to the other half for us.
And Sparkles, of course.
And Sparkles, of course. How could I forget Sparkles?
I mean, personally, with the receiver, I mean, actually, it was Fleetwood that found that for us. So thank you.
Right. Thank you, Fleetwood.
I think personally, the cheaper option might be better in a way, because the receiver that he's recommended has got one potentiometer switch and then some 2 3-way switches, I think.
Right.
The cheap alternative has got the trigger for go and reverse. It's got the wheel for steering, but then it's got 4 potentiometers. And I think that would be a lot better to control some of the aspects of the tractor.
Well, yeah, because if you've got a potentiometer for the servo control parts, then you could actually position things exactly where you want.
That's what I'm
So
thinking.
if you didn't set the servo in the correct start position, it won't matter because you'll control when it stops. Rather than having a 1 and a 0, you know, left and right, and it'll go. So, yeah. Marty McFly knows them. Gordy, it would be an absolute honor to have you on our show. We did find the tractor. It's not a Massey Ferguson. It's something with 5 letters in it. But yeah. So at the moment we're investigating the receiver. If it turns out we can use this receiver, then in one piece we've knocked 25-30 quid off the build cost.
Yeah.
And if that receiver is reusable, i.e. we can just change bits and then we can then use it for other projects. So if we did a drone, for example, we might be able to use that receiver for the drone or whatever. Does it have to have a steering wheel on at Horlicks? Can it be one of the old-fashioned, you got one lever goes up and down and one goes left and right?
Yeah, you could use that. And actually, I prefer those types of controllers because I never get on with the steering wheel ones.
I've never used one. I mean,
I think the steering wheel ones are more professionally used. But I do prefer the normal, you know, left-right stick, up-down stick.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, for the tractor, I
think we can use any sort of receiver because it's got one purpose, and that's
right.
To send a signal to whatever you want to change. So I think it's going to work.
Right.
But obviously, we want to be
sure. What if I went for the receiver that he's recommended on the project? You went for a cheaper one. The question that I'm thinking is, what if your receiver is no good? But then we'd test that beforehand, wouldn't we?
I've got no question in doubt that it won't work. But what we need to ask the question is having 4 potentiometers, that's what we need to ask, if that's going to be suitable for all the functions.
I think we need, let me just have a quick look at the spreadsheet. The electronics, he's right. In the list, he's given us three receivers. And he's told us that you can get a cheap 3-channel one, a medium 4-channel one, but recommended is the 6. I think off the top of my head, we need either 4 or 5 channels, because although each component requires a channel, you're actually like when you plug the trailer in, when you change the trailers, you'll take that plug out from the because it's attached to the trailer. You'll put another trailer in, you'll plug that into the same port. And so I think
I've sussed why the minimum would be 3 channels. Because you've got, when you build just the basic tractor on its own without any of the attachments, you're going to have throttle control.
Yeah.
Which is one
forward and backwards.
You're going to have the steering channel.
Yeah.
Left and right. The 3rd channel is purely for the LED lights.
No, there's another channel. So you can get away with a 3rd one, with a 3, by not plugging the LED lights in.
Because when you look at the video, he plugs the LED lights into the receiver,
which is a switch.
I think so. Which gives it the power for the LEDs.
Yeah.
I think it's permanently on, if I'm right, because there's no.
So
There's
that
no
one,
signal.
that one that I saw last night. Sorry, just bear with me. 24 channel receiver. I saw one yesterday that I will show you in a moment. I'm just trying to find it. Right.
I've gone bright red, haven't I? Joe, it's because of the printer. It's not. It's on 230-degree nozzle, and the bed is at like 90 degrees, which is hotter than it normally is.
You must be sweltering in there.
It's so warm in here, and the window's wide open.
Right. This is more expensive, but let me find it. Right, delete my old share screen, Chrome tabs. Right, so this is more, well, actually it's a similar price, but this is a 24 channel receiver. So this is way overkill. So we could actually plug everything in and still have room left for other stuff.
Is there a picture of the actual receiver where the servos plug into?
No.
Or is it just the...
Do you know what? I think that's just a receiver, now that you mention it. Because now I've just spotted this. Hang on, let me just have a look. Oh, should we play the video?
Okay.
Can you guys hear that?
X9 Lite. This guy from FR Sky is new.
Right, let me re-share the screen, but I'll this time I'll add on the sound. All right, share audio, share. Right. So let's have a little look.
Their new budget radio running their access protocol. I have one running their new ER Sky software.
Adverts.
Yeah. It can come with OpenTX, but this one didn't. So we're going to dive into that and see what that looks like. Will I be changing it to OpenTX? Will I like this radio? Time will tell.
Right, I'm not liking that because...
I'm wondering if that's a digital one that you can actually manually key in the frequency.
Right. Hang on, let's have a look. I don't understand now for this, but access as right. So operating system. So it's got an operating system with it. So does that mean we've got programming?
It'll probably come with it, but it's probably upgradable.
Right. Model memory, 60 models, expandable by micro SD card, small port, micro SD card slot, micro USB. Right. So, my details of the access main functions. Click here. Right. Here we go. Does anyone understand this? Right, I'm suggesting that this is not a basic one, but this is what I've spotted. Is this the actual receivers? I don't understand that. Right, okay, look, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stop sharing that because that's now confusing the hell out of me.
Yeah, I think that's far too complicated.
Yeah.
And that is proper professional for and all sorts.
But I'm guessing. Yeah, right. So what I think the channels are needed is obviously the throttle and the steering, the LEDs, which will we only need an on-off switch. Then we've got the arms, the lift arms, which is going to be a 4th channel. So actually the 3 channels one isn't really going to work for us. if we want the lights. And then we've got another channel to run the accessories, the trailer.
Yeah.
So that's why we've got an extra cable in there that just has no end. It just has an end on the end. So when we fix the trailer or the leveler or whatever we fix, the fertilizer, we need to plug that in. I think we need 5 channels. So the fact we've got 6, 4 is you'll get away with that because you won't have any lights. 3 we'll get away with if we don't want the accessories to work. And then 6, obviously they're not making a 5-channel receiver, so we have to buy 6. So we're still figuring this out. The good news is that one of the trailers probably isn't going to need 3 weeks to build, but then we might need that extra week for the other trailer. So as we figure this out, we'll know the answer. And then, but I think Horlicks is right in that these other cheaper receivers we will probably get away with. I don't think we need a high professional receiver because this is going to be a low speed. It's more of an action thing rather than if it was a racing car, I'd probably be looking at a really expensive receiver. I'd want precise movements, and if you're going through a slalom in a racing car as fast as you can, you need something that's going to work well for that. But what we're going to be doing is just...
Sorry, just excuse me for a couple of seconds, please. I've got a phone call.
Yeah, no problems. That's what I'm thinking. So we'll look at other receivers. If anybody wants to look up receivers that knows what they're talking about, then that would be brilliant. We're doing projects that we don't know much about, and then hopefully by the end of it we know quite a bit. One thing that I've learned already is can't find the bit now, but go back 2 weeks ago, I didn't know how to print with flexible filament, and now I can. So yeah, it's all part of the learning curve. So now I've been left on my own with nothing else I can think of. Right, Love Mini says if you get a good one, you're set. So would it be fair to say get a cheap, good enough receiver for this project, and then the next receiver that I buy, I go out and buy a good one that we can then use. If let's say I made 15 drones because I become a professional drone operator, could I use the same receiver for all of them? Racing car receivers have a steering wheel on them, but you can get away with the sticks though, can't you? Because I'm pretty sure that's how it was done in the old days. It was, and I like the idea of a stick because you can still get the precise movements with your thumb, but then if you're using a steering wheel, I suppose I drive with a wheel, don't I? And I can get precise movement. So I guess, we'll see what happens when we get this receiver. Never used one with a steering wheel before. But yeah, so going back to what I just said, if you got one receiver, could you just sort of change the receivery bit, the channel-y bits, and is it crystals or something it uses? And then you can go, right, I'm going to use this drone today, so I'll set this one up, and tomorrow I want to use this drone, so I'll just change some of the bits around and off we go. Because what's the track to make? It is... You got me on the spot now. Is it Erbo or something like that? Let me do a quick Google. Tractor. It is. It's Ebro. I know it's a 1971 model. Ebro. Let's see if I can find one. 1971. And there is a number on it as well. So just trying to find it. Ah, there's a good picture. Right, let me see if I can get this in full. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to find this. There we go. See more. Ah. Open. I don't want open link. Sorry, I'm failing miserably at controlling my browser windows. Open image in new tab. There it is. Right. So if I now find my way back to the stream, and then I share screen, Chrome tabs. That is it. So that is a picture of his open RC tractor on top of the tractor that he's copied. So it's a Ebro 160D. Yeah, Ebro, not a yeah. Right. Love Minis is saying maybe a medium cost one with good reviews. No, Chris, I'm not doing a 24 hour. I'm not planning on one. Right. So basically the plan is the receiver that they've given us is £58.77. If we can find a good receipt or good a same quality or better for less money, we will then give you the option, and we'll say, tell you what I'll do this until Horlicks comes back. So basically we like to try and give you options. So it's like with the electronics, we're suggesting that you buy from Banggood to keep the costs down. If you have a problem with Chinese electrics, then you can buy those electrics from a hobby shop, but they'll probably cost you 3 times as much. So you know, we're showing the options. And obviously with a transmitter, we know, so that's our budget for a transmitter. But obviously you know, we will say get a transmitter. This is the one that we recommend. Now, Dave Milne, you obviously from your comments, you know far more about receivers than I do. So if you know, you might be able to just sort of pull one out of your garage or something, and if you've got one, then fantastic. I don't have one, but then in a future project, you know, it's like the screws I bought. You know, you might only need 6 screws, but I bought a pack of 50. So then in a future project, oh, you'll need this screw. I've already got them, but this is what it will cost you if you haven't already got them. So you know, I'm guessing not everyone's going to have every bit. So Horlicks hasn't come back yet, and I've got to be honest with you, I want to end the stream because I'm not in super late tomorrow, super early, but I just think, I don't know if you can see from the arts, I got bags under the bags. So we've covered everything that we need to cover tonight. We know what we're going to do next week. So if it's okay with you, I've got hiccups now. Sorry, bear with me a sec. Right, so I'm going to say goodbye. Marty McFly says that looks like a lot like a Massey Ferguson 135. I've never heard of Ebro. Well, that is an Ebro, so we know it's a real. And I'll be honest with you, I never heard of an Ebro before I looked at this project, but I've never been a massive tractor fan. My knowledge of tractors runs to, I know John Deere does big green tractors. and they're big and they're noisy and they've got back wheels bigger than the front wheels. And the only reason I know that is when I was a courier driver in Suffolk, one of my companies that I delivered to regularly was a seller of equipment that you primarily use for industry. So hopefully we're going to all learn from this other than the projects. Right, okay, I will do that. If you don't mind, I'll do it another time. So I'm going to say goodbye. Take care, everybody. And then I'm going to do an impression of Horlicks to say goodbye. So this is me saying goodbye. And this is Horlicks saying goodbye. Goodbye. See you all next week. And I've got to find the end roll. Right. Take care, guys. Love you all. And I'll see you again.